All right. Well, I thought somebody might be interested in a project I needed to make. It's going to be a vacuum chuck. I know it's an odd looking one, but it's for when I do my bear claw hollows. Trying to lacquer them while they're sitting upside down on a post is literally a pain in my back. Plus, you can't really see what you're doing. This way, I'll be able to put it in my 2-inch jaws with vacuum, because I hand turn them as I'm lacquering, and that way I can see the entire hollow form to be sure I'm getting a proper thickness coat on each time I do it. Make it much easier, and I can do a better job. And I ordered some bearing kits from Frugal Vacuum Pump. He's in Arizona for the winter, so it's going to take a while. Knowing USPS, they'll get the grand tour of the United States, and I don't want to wait that long. So I thought I'd figure out a way to do it. I turned a piece of cherry, just a scrap piece of cherry, to where, let's see, I think this is 1.5 inch PVC, tight fit. It's contact cemented in. I put my foam on the end. I've got wire wrapped on here because sometimes this stuff tends to, the inside does fine. It just, for some reason, the outsides always want to come loose. I don't need that stuff flopping around. So that's just to keep the foam from spreading out. But then I needed to make the part that holds the tube that will go to my vacuum. I turned a, hope I'm getting this right, turned a walnut insert that will go inside, and it will be glued in. It'll be airtight. And the first thing I did was drill a 3/4 inch hole all the way through. No, excuse me, wrong, dumb. I drilled a 7/8 hole, just shy of a 1/4 inch deep. Then did the 3/4 inch hole all the way through. Not enough scotch. Have a cigar. It's just a used bearing that come off my bandsaw when I switched out to new bearings. It's got an 8mm center. I think 22 outside diameter. And I went and bought 2 5/16 double-ended barbs made out of brass. On one end, get up there, I turned the ridges down until it was a fairly tight fit inside the bearing. Then I used a piece of steel tubing that only hits the center turning part of the bearing, and drove it on right up to the middle dividing piece here. Excellent tight fit. I used Permatex blue silicone to make sure it's totally airtight. I installed it with 2 screws to sit on the lip of the bearing. It's just shy of the, just a little above the top of the insert. You don't want to get that stuff on your intersection because it's got to be able to rotate freely, and you don't want anything screwing up the seals. So once that was installed, I have a piece of 5/16 just clear, I don't know, vinyl, whatever it is, whatever they call it. It fits down through the center of my lathe shaft. Push that on, airtight. I'll be gluing it in here probably tomorrow sometime. The second barb will get installed in this end of the tube. It's a good tight fit. This will be where I connect it to the hose that comes off my vacuum pump. Normally, my other ones have a polyethylene tube that fits in there already snug. In this case, I'll use the hose barb, connect my vacuum chuck to my vacuum, and it'll all be airtight. And like I said, you're not turning with these. You might do some light sanding or something. With the small diameter inside, your pounds per square inch is not going to be real high. It's mainly just to hold the small piece. It could be even a small bowl or a cup, something like that. But I made it specifically, I'm going to use it for my Bear Paw hollows because I want to make sure I can do the lacquer jobs properly. But it's, the only things I bought was the, I don't know, vinyl tubing and 2 of these barbs. The bearings I already had, they're still in good shape. It's just, they're old, and I don't need them to go out on me when I least expect it. So I put new bearings on the bandsaw and saved these. I'm a pack rat. Turned out it come in handy. And the foam is just, I bought a big pack of multicolored stuff. Don't use the black. I found out the hard way, you don't want to use the black foam. I think they come from Walmart. All the other colors are fine. Red, blue, green, all those are great. Don't use the black. Because under vacuum, especially if you're using a bigger vacuum chuck, under vacuum, the black tends to put a discolored dark ring where it touches your wood. And then you take it off and it's like, crap, now what do I do? Well, I figured that out. If you're using abrasive paste and wax, you can just take steel wool and redo it, and it'll remove that. If you've used sanding sealer, you'll have to strip the sanding sealer and redo it to get the black off. So don't use black. That Crafty Foam black, it just deteriorates almost instantly when it comes in touch with even dry wood. I've had it happen with a maple bowl, nothing on it. It was just sanded, put it on the chuck, and when I took it off I had a nice black ring. Stuff is doo-doo. But yeah, it's I'm kind of impatient, so when I want to get things done, I want to get them done and I don't want to wait. But the other bearings and stuff from Frugals, who knows? With the weather we're having and the poor mailman freezing their tutus off, I'm sure they'll take their time, and I might grow my third set of teeth before I see them get here. So I just wanted to get this done because I'm going to try using some pine, larger pieces of pine to do some of the bear paws with. They turned out pretty good once they were oiled and lacquered. So I thought, I got to get this chuck done, because I've got a lady that really likes the bear paws. She's already bought, I don't know, about 8 of them. I don't know what she's doing with them. Probably don't want to know. Giving them out as gifts, maybe. But yeah, that's all. Really, it's a simple thing. Well, to me, it's a simple thing to build this kind of stuff. And you can scrounge up scraps. I mean, who knows? A lot of people got pieces, short pieces of scrap, all different sizes. I've built vacuum chucks, oh geez, from about 3 inches clear up to 6 inches, and I have a 16-inch vacuum plate that I built. And this is how they're all done, is with the bearing and hose deal. Frugal, he's a good guy. Bob Leonard's a really good guy. He just happens to winter in Arizona. He's normally from Illinois. I noticed the price has gone up a little bit on, it's a set of 3. You get the bearing and the hoses and instructions on how to build them and everything. It's gone up to $32 for a set of 3, which really isn't bad. Because if you scrounge the rest of the materials, PVC, turn your own wooden lip to put the foam on, I mean, basically you're going to have, you know, other than your time, you're going to have $10 in a vacuum chuck. I'm not a cheapskate. I spend money if I have to, but I like to tinker anyhow. So if I can save $1 or $2 just piddling around, sitting out here, then I will. But yeah, the bearings are real common. You can buy this size bearing just about anywhere. You can buy them online. I'm sure Amazon's got a deal, 10 of them for whatever, probably $9.99 for 10 of them. So yeah, if your shaft, the hollow part of your shaft isn't big enough to handle a 1/2 inch diameter hose, you could go with a smaller bearing, smaller fitting, say 1/4 inch, so that way you can get it to go through your lathe. I know I've seen some lathes already with MT2 that had like 3/8 holes through the center. Doesn't make any sense why they do that. But that's how I build vacuum chucks when I'm in a hurry. Yeah, just contact cement and a little bit of Permatex silicone. The Loctite used to sell a glue that we used on these, but they quit making it because if you didn't use it on a regular basis, it just congeal in the bottle and be useless. It didn't have much of a shelf life really. So I experimented with different stuff and finally come up with the blue Permatex, because if you should have to take it apart, the blue's easy to get loose. Some of the Permatex silicones, I know I've had trouble with the red getting it off, so I just continue to use the blue and it seals it up just fine. You just got to give it enough time to cure. If you can smell it, it's not cured. It'll have like almost like a vinegary smell. So I would say 24 or 36 hours. It should be fine, especially if it's in a warm house, 72 degrees or whatever. It'll cure up pretty fast because it's just a thin layer in there. But yeah, it's just got my standard tenon, 2 1/4 inch tenon on it, and I've marked it so it goes back in the same place every single time, and it'll maintain a straight turn. You won't get any wobble. And for this particular job, it won't have to be tightened in all that tight. I mean, you know, just so you know, it won't fly out. With my hollows are about 3.5 ounces hanging on the end of this. But yeah, probably when I use it, I'll wrap this with tape, just cheap masking tape, and I'll oil the cherry. That way, when I'm spraying lacquer, I get a buildup, I can peel it off, you know. Because I'll tell you what, little spikes of dried lacquer can really slice you. They're like glass. But that's it. Ta-da! Not bad. Didn't cost all that much. I think with the tubing and the 2 fittings, it was around $8. $7.50, $8. So I don't consider that a bad deal. Like I said, I could have waited, but who knows how long it's going to take USPS to get here. I've yet to have anything arrive in a timely manner from them, and I think they ought to be privatized myself. But yeah, if anybody's got any questions, or you know, if you need a link or anything, matter of fact, I'll probably just put a link to Frugal when I post this video. Give Mr. Leonard something to do while he's down there. And I think it's the Mesa, Arizona area near Phoenix, suburb of Phoenix. So yeah, that's it. Just, it's an easy little thing to build. I think altogether I've got an hour and 20 minutes, not counting drying time. So yeah, it's worth it. Before I sign off, I'll show you another one of mine. Hang on a second. Okay, let's see if I can get this in the fixture. Yeah, it made it. This one's made out of a 4 to 5 inch adapter, PVC adapter. I turned a wooden lip to go on it, and I don't make them real skinny. I like them wider, so if I get a bull that wants to ride higher up, it'll still seal. It's just, again, that yellow craft foam stuff. Uses the same bearing, everything. I turned a wooden piece for the tenon, marked, so it's always the same. And I think this one, I'm looking at 4 inches in diameter. I know when I run 25 inches of vacuum through this one, you're not going to pull it off. I've actually had to return the bottom of a bowl 600-700 RPM with this one, and it held no problem. Probably not recommended, but like I said, when I got something to do, I want to get it done. And this is just easy. I just took it up to my vacuum pump, and there I go. And see, you can probably see some marks on this polyethylene hose. That's where the end of the outboard side of the spindle shaft. This hose, it's basically unaffected. It just got some black marks on it. It doesn't eat through, it doesn't cut it or anything. Same way with this stuff. It just kind of glides on the smooth metal. You might want to make sure you don't have any dings or dents from jamming a knockout rod through there, but it just glides on it. I've yet to wear out a hose, and I've used all my vacuum chucks many times. So if you're wanting to try it and don't want to spend a ton of money buying an expensive one that you may not like, or maybe you don't like just don't like using vacuum chucks, you can try one of these, do it yourself, and hey, if you like them, they're easy to build. You can build as big as you want. I already know one guy that built an 8.5-inch one, and at full pump vacuum, I've actually seen him hollow a bowl. I was kind of waiting to see what happened, but it was just like having it on a chuck. He actually hollowed the bowl on his vacuum chuck, and it never moved a bit. I think he was pulling 25 or 26. And when you calculate the cubic inches surface area times, what is it, 15 point something, that's a lot of pull. It's a lot of pull. It's more than I can pick up, I know that. So yeah, there you go. Give it a try. Or nothing else. Have a drink. Laugh at Dave. I'm a nut. So that's how I build them.